This is a Marshall Enterprises presentation. Peace and power, family. The information being provided today has to do with the criminal justice system and the steps that are involved from once a person is incarcerated, or I'm sorry, not when they're incarcerated, but from when the time the alleged crime is committed until when the case is either dismissed or a result has come about, the information that was provided. As you can see on your screen, and I'm going to enlarge it so it can be a little more easier to read. I'm also going to leave a link at the bottom in the description to this page so you can actually go through it yourself. And basically, a lot of us don't understand the criminal justice system and the adjudication process, the arraignment process, bail process. There's several different things that go on once a person is arrested, or let's even go back further, accused of a crime, may have been caught on camera doing something, subsequently gets arrested, maybe turn themselves in. So there's things that happen and things that should happen to predict the outcome. Okay, so let me move some things out of my own way so I can see this a little better. Okay, so as I said, what you see on the screen is the chart, the flow chart of what happens when someone allegedly commits a crime and enters the system. So let's concentrate on what we're familiar with. We're familiar with this top half. All right, so you have the crime that's committed back here. It was either reported or observed. Minor investigation may happen or something like that. They'll go over the videotape or they'll go over evidence, and then the arrest is made. Now, you're either going to be released without prosecution or you're going to continue down the road. Now, if you're a minor, you go down this way. Now, excuse me, the minor that I'm mentioning in this aspect would be someone under the age of 17, 17 and below. They treat you as a juvenile. Juvenile and minor is not one and the same, okay? So, in law. So, let's go back up top. You had the arrest, and depending on what you do here, you can escape prosecution or escape adjudication. If you end up getting charged with something, if you notice, there's still an escape route. There's always an out. There's always an out, or there's a fork in the road. Every law is written two-sided because, and this was taught to me by, or explained to me by someone that's been doing and practicing law for a very long time. The lawmakers that write these laws, these bills, they are very, very wise. Whereas if they are possibly caught in the web of the criminal justice system, they would look for a way out as well. So it would behoove them to write a law or write a bill that is one-sided, whereas it's punishment, 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 and not something that can either send you to rehabilitation or send you to get additional help, as opposed to just sending you straight to incarceration. So there are many, many outs. And if I'm not mistaken, the explanation that I got was it's sort of written in the Bible, and it's also written in the Constitution. There are outs. Oftentimes, you hear laws, and the laws will say you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, but they never mention what you can do. So whatever's not mentioned, there's a bit of leeway. Let me go to the UCC, and I'm jumping around, and I apologize for those that can't keep up or not so sure what I'm talking about. But in the UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code, the Uniform Commercial Code is written so that it gives you leeway to do your processes without the restraints of government, the restraints of legislators. It's giving you enough leeway to activate your own processes, to create your own documents, etc. Okay, so when the laws are written not to say, okay, today you can do this, today you can do that. No, it's more of a guideline of the things that you should not be doing. If you do this, we're going to punish you. If you do that, it's going to be penalties. But for the most part, those of us that are on the private side, as long as you don't kill anybody, injure anybody, or cause any fraud, you have no dealings, or you most likely would not have any dealings with these people. So let's go back to this chart here. If there are no injured party, if there is no contract, if there is no, well, mostly injured party or contract, or someone that can identify you as the person that committed a crime, you're going to go right out the door, right out the door, right out the door. All right. So if you kill somebody, injure somebody, or happen to cause any fraud, you're most likely going to go down this river, and it's going to take you to where it leads you to, either misdemeanor or felony. All right. So let's concentrate on some other things here. Now, charges are filed. You're either going to get released, like I said, you're either going to continue on with it, or there is another avenue here: diversion by law enforcement, prosecutor, or court. Where does that lead? Out of the system. I really would like to highlight that and speak on that real quick. When you get a parking ticket, summons, citations, etc., the reason why you have 3 days or 72 hours to send it back or rebut it is because that technically is considered a bill of attainder. Please look that word up, study that, or look that phrase up, look that term up, and I'll explain it this way. The Constitution prohibited bills of attainder because a bill of attainder is when you can be convicted of a crime without a jury, without a hearing even being held. And that more or less falls under these parking tickets and citations and summonses. What they'll do is they'll put a ticket on your car and say you were parked in front of a hydrant and the ticket is $175. Did you have a hearing to discuss the penalties of that? No. You pay that fine, or they're going to suspend your license, or they're going to suspend your registration, or they're going to tow your vehicle, etc. So that is more or less a bill of attainder. You have a right to, what is the words here? You have the right to due process. And parking summonses and tickets, etc., do not really give you that proper right to due process. So your out is to refute it, to rebut it, to send it back. Now, once you send it back within the allocated time, it does not enter the system. It gets caught up, it gets hung up. So it may appear on their books, but they cannot do anything with it. That becomes your out. It may still be there on the record. If you look it up, it'll still be there, but they cannot more or less push the envelope anymore because you have properly answered it. You properly dismissed it on your own. Now, let's go criminally. You are brought up on charges and the prosecutor may come to you, or if you hire a public defender, what have you, and they want to hear your case, they want to hear your side. Us on the private side do not deal through lawyers, do not deal through attorneys. We are able and capable of handling our own affairs. And in doing so, we produce the paperwork that we have already put together, or we verbalize what we need to verbalize to, to the prosecutor or the court. And we then get out of the system. I did a video, was it in November? I believe it was in November. I did a video a little while ago. I'll actually add a caption here. The officer will be right back shortly. He was given my passport and a international driving permit. He clocked me doing 87 and a 65. Gotcha.
All right, sir, here's your stuff back.
Thanks, sir.
I'm just going to give you a warning there, all right?
No problem.
Just slow it down for me, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Be safe.
All right, have a good rest of your day.
Yes, sir. Up to that video. And the officer pulled me over doing 85. You know, I was speeding, as they call it. And once I gave him my documents, he more or less had his hands tied. So that was considered a diversion by law enforcement, because he either could have arrested me, he could have given me a summons and a citation, he could have, but no, by properly executing, properly articulating your position on the private side, you have a diversion by law enforcement. If I would have gotten a summons or I would have gotten arrested, I would now have to go to the next step, would be the prosecutor of the court, and I would not plead my case, but explain my position on being on the private side and not in their system, and they can't adjudicate me. And that, again, would be a diversion by prosecutor court out of the system. So you have to see these things. You have to understand these things. This is what we talk about on the private side. How do we avoid this stuff? Because you don't want to go to trial. You don't want to make a plea. If you play their game, you're going to go to the main ocean. Consider this an inlet. You went through the sewer drain, you went to the sewage system, and you're just about to get into a river. Now, or these are small lakes and streams heading to the big ocean. The big ocean, this is more difficult to get out of. You want to be diverted off of that before you get into heavy waters, if I'm making any sense there. All right. So please look over this document. And a lot of people that may look at this may say, okay, wow, yeah, this is what they did to me. This is what they did to me. This is what they did to me. And, you know, I'm over here. You know, I'm see, there's still outs on this side of the rope, but the level of difficulty is pretty high. It's pretty high on this side. Now, with misdemeanors, there's a small chance of you actually doing any jail time when it comes to misdemeanors. Very small. You'd have to look over this this flow chart yourself and really get familiar with it. Really get familiar with it. But if you are like myself, you'd get kind of familiar with it just for informational purposes only. But you would really concentrate on this avenue, or you would concentrate on this avenue. This is what I like. See how big these tubes are? These are the big outs, and then it gets smaller. It gets smaller as it goes further because the chances of you actually getting out of that slot are very, very slim. This is consistent. This is a consistent line here. Your chances here are great, here are great, here are great, and here are pretty good. All right. So these are the areas that you concentrate on. You don't want now you need to learn this stuff in case you happen to get pushed past and you find yourself here. What do you need to do? But mainly concentrate on this here, and you'll never have to deal with any of this here. This is the private side, the private side, the private side, of which no one is really explaining to you guys, or you guys are not taking the time to figure out or understand. So what happens is you get caught up in this ocean and you get swept away. Don't get swept away. Please, please, please get more information on the private side so you can get out of their system. Let me highlight that for you. What you want to do, you want out of system. This is short and sweet. This is Bud-Brownsville, just showing you a flow chart of the criminal justice system and what you need to know when it comes to adjudication and the outs that are available, the things that are not told to you that you need to know, because not everybody needs to be sitting in the jail doing TikTok videos, sitting in the jail awaiting trial, sitting in the jail awaiting sentencing, sitting in the jail at all. There are outs, and you need to know these outs. And most important, while I go there, do not give a plea. If you offer a plea, that means you are willing to play the game. It's like they're offering you an opportunity they're offering you an opportunity to come on over here. When you make a plea, this is what you're going to get. You get an opportunity to roll the dice over here. When you don't make a plea, most of the time, you are going this way. Going this way. Do not be a part of their system, their plays, their controversies. Do not be a part of it. And there's instructions on how to avoid all of this stuff. I'm willing to discuss it with you. I'm willing to give you the information that you need so you can also get out of the system. It's Bud-Brownsville. Thank you for listening. I hope somebody is getting some edification out of this presentation. They're getting fed. They're getting more information. They're getting more knowledge. They're seeing the justice system, the criminal justice system, in a different light. They're getting understanding on how the flow chart works and how these events go, because they never know. They know their loved one gets arrested, their loved one gets arraigned, their loved one gets, bail, the loved one gets this. I've also went through the penal sums, because when people get charged, they never ask how much. When you get charged with a crime, and more or less they gave you a bill that you have to pay, either with your body or with your time. Most of the time it's the same thing, your body and time, but, or, you can offer to take care of the charges, or they're going to put your body up as collateral. So this is jargon that you need to know, people. You need to know. But short and sweet, you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. Let me know how I did. Click like, subscribe, hit that notification button too. I think that's been useful. Hit that notification button, that bell at the top, to let YouTube algorithm know that you enjoyed this, you want to see this type of information. And share, please share, please share, please share. But thank you. I appreciate you. And stay tuned because I got more coming your way.